Weapon kits are something we've had since Splatoon 1 and continued into Splatoon 2. While it's more than likely we're going to get it again for Splatoon 3, there is a bit of a question. Are weapon kits a good idea in the first place? Or would fully customizable kits lead to a better game? Today, I'm going to be finally settling the great Splatoon 3 weapon kit debate. So, saddle up as we go over the pros and cons of each side, and if you enjoy this video and want to see more from me, please consider subscribing as it helps me out quite a lot. And without further ado, let's get right into the debate. 3 quick things before we start the pros and cons list. How many kits for each weapon are we talking about here? Right now, we have 2 to 3 kits per weapon, but I wanted to ask you guys which amount you would want in Splatoon 3 because I think it would be unfair to compare against 2 to 3 weapon kits. And you guys would rather have 3 or 3 to 4 kits per weapon. So we're going to be arguing for 3 to 4 kits for every weapon versus customizable kits. Secondly, obviously there's some middle grounds like having kits be semi-customizable or custom kits in PBs only. I'm not going to be covering either of those arguments, purely on should we have custom kits for every weapon or not in the entire game. Finally, what about points for special/special depletion? In Splatoon 1, every weapon kit had special depletion, and in Splatoon 2, every weapon had a points for special. So, real quick, if we're doing customizable kits, then the specials will have points for special and potentially special depletion that could be attached to them. In Splatoon 1, specials had points for special attached to them anyway, so this would be the system that we're going to assume would be used if there's custom kits. Because this is YouTube.com, let's start with the negatives of customizable kits. One thing to note right away is it might be a lot harder for Nintendo to extend content. While we definitely do get new maps, weapons, subs, and specials, most of the DLC we get is new weapon kits. And while we could definitely have more kits on launch, it's kind of hard to argue that weapon kits are the majority of Splatoon's DLC, so it would mean adding content post-launch would have to be different, and in general would be harder than it is right now. Another negative is that it could be a lot harder to tell what sub and special people are using when it's brought into a match. While theoretically, there could be some UI design to showcase everyone's subs and specials more easily, and yeah, if you don't play the game a lot, memorizing each kit's subs and special could be difficult, but right now if you really want to learn the game, you can tell what every single weapon, sub, and special is going to be the moment you load into a match. And that's something that could be a lot more unexpected with customizable kits. However, easily the biggest factor against customizable kits is game balance. I mean, if you allow anyone to pick any sub and special combination with the main weapon, then it's really difficult to get things so they're still diverse. Basically, customizable kits makes it way harder for the devs to actually balance the game compared to when they can pick what subs and specials main weapons have. But with those downsides, and especially this major one aside, what are the pros of customizable kits? On the smaller side, weapon skins, or maybe smaller depending on who you're asking. Weapon skins could be really interesting, and the main reason we don't have them is because of kits. So if we get rid of kits, we can allow weapons to have a ton of different looks available, which is both good for Nintendo because you could monetize stuff like that, and good for the player base because it could give more unlocking and incentive to playing the game, and much more customization options, especially if you're trying to match your gear outfit to a main weapon. You could pick a skin that would go well with it. Skins are pretty well liked, and I think it would be great to see some custom looks in Splatoon. Secondly, you know the phrase, carried by a weapon kit, something commonly attributed to stuff like Junior? Yeah, that doesn't exist with custom kits. No main weapon is able to get carried by a sub and special combination because it's not exclusive to them, which is great for making main weapons that really shouldn't be seeing as much use as special spammers a bit weaker. But secondly, it also means that if you play something like GooTuber that just got unlucky with the kits that it has, well, now you can attach whatever kit you want and show off the true potential of that main weapon. Speaking of weapon kits, those also just get a lot stronger. Weak weapon kits just often aren't very fun to play. And while there could be potential for broken combinations, so far from what we've seen in terms of the Splatoon 3 main, sub, and special combinations, the only things that would have to be limited are burst bombs on Explosher, Rapid, and regular Slosher. That's only 3 weapons with 1 sub. Nothing else would be that broken out of pure combination alone. It would have to be because the sub or special is incredibly unbalanced, which is something that could not only be addressed in a patch, but wouldn't be a problem with the weapon kit in the first place. Another small point is sub-weapon diversity. Now yes, I know I stated in my cons that customizable kits would mean that main, sub, and special weapon balance is a lot harder. However, this would directly benefit utility subs like Toxic Mist or beacon, because if you want to run a comp that has one of those, you're no longer limited by what few weapons actually have them. Meaning sub-weapon diversity might actually improve in a custom kits environment. But the biggest strength of customizable kits is, well, customizable kits. I mean, Splatoon has such a wide variety of main, sub, and special weapon combinations, and that's in 2. We're gonna have even more in 3. Imagine being able to have a weapon and equipping whatever sub and special you want. I know everyone watching this video, if you have a main weapon you like, you probably have a dream weapon kit for it. And for most of you, that kit isn't happening. That's just the probability with a limited amount of weapon kits. But with customizable kits, you're not limited by that. You can have whatever custom sub or special combination you want. Which not only gives more options for so much of the player base, but it also means that people might discover new main weapons they might not even like before. For a good example, let's use me with Rapid Blaster. Despite me being a Blaster player, I had played very little of the Rapids, because many of the kits had a passive playstyle. Kensa Rapid's kit was a new, aggressive kit with an aggro special to keep you alive, and a combo sub. And because of that, now I have an unhealthy amount of pain on the Rapid Blaster. Custom kits just allow a ton of experimentation that people weren't able to do before, which adds a lot of depth and lifespan to the game. Here are the list of all the major pros and cons that I could think of on screen right now. So the question is, should we have custom weapon kits or not? Everyone's gonna have their own answer for this, and both sides have some really important arguments, but I mean, you guys know me, competitive player, likes the game to be balanced and good, so of course I'm gonna go with customizable weapon kits. Yeah, that's not what people expected, but alright, here we go. Custom kits aren't a perfect system, but neither are weapon kits right now. A lot of the weapon kits suck. That's just how things are right now. And just because the devs pick weapon kits doesn't mean they're gonna pick the best ones for the game. I hate to say it, but most of the weapon kits we have in Splatoon 2 aren't even good. I think a lot of people worry about custom weapon kits because they think about their application in Splatoon 2 with fizzy armor spam and stuff like that. But this isn't about Splatoon 2. This is about Splatoon 3, where they're overhauling special design, where they're gonna have different maps, new main weapons, different movement options. It's not gonna be the same game. It's gonna be a lot easier to build around the idea of custom weapon kits than it was in Splatoon 1 or 2. And speaking of balance, I think customizable kits will have to break a lot of the bad patch design we've seen. You can't just make weapons good by making them special spammers, because you can just attach that kit on any main weapon now. You can't just make something 10 less points for special, and something can't just be niche because it got lucky with a good kit. The main weapon's gotta be good, so you have to actually balance the main subs and specials themselves, which might end up being a really good thing for balance. Weapon diversity is cool, but Splatoon 2 is probably one of the best examples that it's not everything when it comes to balancing a game. And again, points for specials aren't going to be gone, they'll just be attached to the specials themselves. And you can bring back special depletion, Nintendo, come on, you know you want to do it. I think the actual biggest challenge is going to be DLC and UI, and hey, maybe with custom weapon kits out of the way, we can get a lot more skins, more new subs and specials, maps, or other updates that we might not be able to think of. And yeah, knowing subs and specials at the start of the game is going to be a challenge, but it's not impossible, and it's not the end of the world if you can't tell what sub and special people are going to have. I mean, a lot of people don't know it to begin with because they don't play this game as much as I do. And while yes, extending content with DLC might be harder, it's undeniable that custom weapon kits adds a ton of lifespan to the game for the entirety of the player base. There's just so much experimentation there. Plus, Splatoon 3 is chaos. And custom kits are certainly chaos. Again, none of this is to say custom kits are perfect. They have their own set of challenges. But in my opinion, for a brand new game, they're gonna be better than having limited weapon kits. So while it may not be the answer you guys were expecting to hear from me, I really hope we get custom weapon kits in Splatoon 3. Either way, it's not a deal breaker for me by any means, and I'm curious to hear what you guys think. Maybe there's some points that I missed? Let me know in the comments. And with that all being said, I'll see you all in a future video.